this? Some people see a bear to the right and a pig to the left. Others, well, many other things. And here's a tree and a chainsaw that's going to cut it. It seems like the mountain doesn't like that. Oh, there are more on the ground. Well, let's look at this elephant. Wait, those are rocks. Look, Mars. It looks like an elephant too, but it's a lava flow. There are no elephants on Mars, nor sculpted faces, as they're just mountains if we look at them from a different angle. Hi, and welcome to S for Science, and what you have just experienced is a psychological phenomenon called pareidolia, which consists in recognizing faces in places where there aren't any. This is a clear sign of intelligence. It's normal that you can see something else besides clouds. It's your intelligence which, in an attempt to recognize things that are familiar to you, something necessary in our daily lives, it makes up the most random forms in places where there is simply nothing close to what we see. Maybe your intelligence sees a bear and a pig, but keep in mind that your intelligence is not the only one. There are other intelligences, some even that we have created with ours. Intelligences that don't see bears nor pigs, but fills with fish-formed tractors, overflown by a turtle with rodent head, to the left of a chameleon with two antennae and a rat head on his back, stepping on a shrew mouse, all in front of a sky full of spiders. That was an interpretation of the same image that we saw before, but made by an artificial intelligence, programmed to recognize familiar things. Just like us. Here's a little collection of some of the interpretations that this artificial intelligence has done. It was designed by Google in an attempt to optimize the results of the image searches in his popular web search engine. In this case, they taught the AI how to recognize things, allowing it to link up images and to find similar pictures to those that the user is looking for. But the result was a bit far from what they expected, as the program showed the most weird and surreal images that seemed straight out of a psychedelic dream. This AI is still available for everyone to use, and you can ask it to identify things in your pictures. This artificial intelligence was created to make things easier for us, like the vast majority of AIs that we have created. And they are everywhere, in your phone, in your PC, on the internet, in the supermarket, in vehicles. And nothing happens because they are harmless, right? Is there something to fear? Well, yes and no. Because it has happened that people have died because they have fallen asleep, having entrusted the operation of their Tesla to the AI of the vehicle. And this has happened several times. A real tragedy. But what the press doesn't explain is that the autopilots of the Tesla vehicles are twice as reliable than humans. Indeed, the percentage of accidents is reduced by half on those vehicles driven by artificial intelligence. So, harmless they are not. However, in this case, we're talking about a very simple artificial intelligence. It was a simple miscalculation. In fact, we're far from imitating our intelligence in an artificial intelligence. Mainly because we don't even know what our intelligence is. Because intelligence is not just how to drive a car. It is to know, for example, what is right and what is wrong. It is to love and to hate. It is to know that you exist, and to know that you're not the only one who knows it. But let's not turn away from the case of Tesla. Imagine that you work for that company, more specifically as a software programmer. And then you're programming the vehicle and how it behaves, and suddenly the next question occurs to you. What does the car have to do if suddenly you were in front of two people? Stop short to avoid killing them, but also killing the driver because of the sudden stop, or simply let the car go forward, thus saving the driver's life because it wouldn't have to stop short and make the driver fly off, but running over those two people. What would you do? The car will not care, and if it's not programmed, it will be a simple random choice. Since it doesn't have emotional intelligence and no ethics, it will not know how to do and will choose something random. It'll be a 50-50 decision because its intelligence is not comparable to human intelligence. But you that are programming the car will indeed have the choice. Would you kill a person to save two lives? This question is a variant of the famous ethical dilemma called the trolley problem, designed by the philosopher Philippa Foot. There are many variants of the dilemma, but I did a survey on my Twitter account to see how humans are. The question was the following: If you could stop a train heading towards two tight people by throwing a person onto a track, what would you do? And here you have the results. A lot of people voted, more than 2,000 people. But practically there was a tie. Conclusion, both options seem to us equally unethical. In one option, you're the one who kills a person directly and yes, saving two people, but killing one. And in the other one, well, you didn't kill anyone directly. You do kill two indirectly because their deaths could have been avoided. The most interesting thing here, however, is to see how the results of the advanced human intelligence is so similar to a simple artificial intelligence of a Tesla autopilot. 50-50. However, there's a very relevant difference. You would rather not have to make this choice. We find it uncomfortable to have to answer this question and to imagine ourselves in this situation. However, an artificial intelligence would be indifferent. And this is because you are aware of your existence and the others. Something that artificial intelligences are not yet able to do. At least, for now. This is the Z3. It was the first programmable machine and totally automatic. Characteristics used to define a computer. So it is considered the first computer ever. It had a memory with place for 64 words, and for you to have an idea of its processing power, it took only 3 seconds to solve a multiplication. And its weight was 1 ton. Nowadays, a mobile phone is able to do 10 to the 12 calculations per second. And it weighs 100 grams. And this takes us to the Moore's Law that was formulated by Intel's founder. This famous law predicts that each 2 years, we double the number of transistors that we can put in a microprocessor, because they are getting increasingly smaller. And since transistors are responsible for processing data, this law implies that the computers are becoming more powerful, but also smaller and cheaper. Until now, the Moore's Law has been true, and although it might stop soon, since it is already reaching the physical limit, as transistors nowadays are just a little bit bigger than an atom, we can just make bigger computers. And we also have quantum computing, that will arrive in the coming years, which will increase the efficiency of the computers significantly. In any case, we will have more powerful computers over time. We currently have in our pockets a machine that is much more powerful than the one that allowed humans to land on the surface of the moon. But this progressive increase of the computational capacity can be seen from another point of view. Our brain performs a certain number of operations per second so that we can be smart. And in the same way does the primitive brain of a dragonfly. However, in the case of the dragonfly, the number of operations per second is much lower. Does this sound familiar? Indeed, the difference between the dragonfly and human brain operations number is similar to the difference between the Z3 and the iPhone 7, which was launched many years ago. One of the most powerful computers, the Sunway Taihu Lite, has a processing capacity of about 93 petaflops, which is a little more than the double of the human brain capacity, 40 petaflops. 40 quadrillion operations per second. So can we affirm that we have already created an artificial intelligence smarter than us? Well, as we said before, we can't answer this question because we still have no idea what human intelligence is. It might seem absurd that we have no idea what something that we experience every day and use to do many things is. How is it possible that we don't understand the same thing that defines us? Well, precisely for that reason. Because we're trying to understand what intelligence is by using it. We're using our intelligence to figure out what our intelligence is, and that makes things much more complicated. For instance, do you consider a climbing plant something intelligent? And you'll answer me, what a silly question. It's obvious that plants are not intelligent. Are you sure? Because you should know that climbing plants are born near trees to be able to climb them. And if that is not the case, they always look for a tree in order to start climbing it. This can be considered as intelligence depending on how you see it. And these kinds of behaviors are common in the plant kingdom, and in the archaea world, and bacteria, and fungi, and in the virtual world. For you to understand it better, let's see some genetic algorithms. These are nothing more than small programs designed to learn. Learn to do whatever you tell them to. This one, for example, was programmed in the way that if it touched the ball, it would feel pain. So, little by little, it tries to avoid touching the ball. In every generation, the artificial intelligence learns something. And with time and accumulating knowledge, every time it is becoming more agile, until finally, it learns how to jump. It's still clumsy, but after many generations, it learns how to jump correctly without touching the ball anymore. It has learned to jump because it is smart. This one's also very interesting. In this case, it is being rewarded if it moves faster. And to achieve it, it is able to develop specialized tissue to make the necessary functions to walk, as muscle, hard tissue, elastic tissue, getting better and better. Tissues, like a living being. There are a few programs that let you create your own genetic algorithm designed by you, like this one for example, that you'll have in the description, with which throughout a series of points and dashes you can create the bones and muscles of what would be your genetic algorithm. You can design it as you want, there are no limits, and you can even program what you want it to learn, like in this case that it's learning how to run. Once you program it, you can give it life and it'll start being very clumsy, and there will be more than one, but only the most efficient one will survive to the next generation. Generation after generation, they will improve, and despite being useless at the beginning, they will end up being the best that they can be in that form. They have learned to walk. They've learned in a few seconds what humans take years to learn. Genetic algorithms, apart from having a lot of practical applications, help us to see how primitive it's today's artificial intelligence, but also to give us a warning about the potential of this technology. Because they can already learn how to walk, but maybe in some years they'll learn how to fool us. We have no idea if someday we'll be able to recreate consciousness in an artificial intelligence. No one has any idea how to do it, but surely it can be done. Because if natural selection did it once, it can do it again. Maybe it won't be us who will do it. Maybe it'll be the artificial intelligence itself. Yesterday it learned how to walk, today how to program, tomorrow how to think. It is normal to think that until artificial intelligence reaches consciousness, it probably won't be any danger to us. But this is totally wrong. Imagine, for example, that in a few years we program a much more intelligent AI than us, but without consciousness, with the purpose of building more AIs. This intelligence that might seem perfectly harmless to humans wouldn't actually be so harmless. Its mission would be to create more artificial intelligences. And if something like a human gets on its way, it would have to remove it. And let's remember that it would be several times more intelligent than us. Maybe it wouldn't have consciousness, but it would have a mission, like a virus for example, and it wouldn't doubt to exterminate the entire human existence just to be able to fulfill its mission. However, this is not the only problem that artificial intelligence has. Because there's another one. It could turn its own creator into something useless. Us humans. In a previous video, for example, The Price of Our Survival, I said that in World War II, 80,000 million people had died, when in reality only 80 million died. Well, I can make that mistake because I'm human. You can allow it. However, you can't allow AIs to make mistakes. I have an excuse because I'm human and I can make mistakes. But an AI can't. You're seeing Sunspring, a movie like any other, but whose script was written by an artificial intelligence. The plot, dialogues, sets, costumes, everything, absolutely everything you see and hear was written by an artificial intelligence. Obviously, the movie was played by people who said and did what the script told them to. It didn't win an Oscar, but the movie has its good moments and the plot makes some sense, as if a 10-year-old boy had done it. Step by step, AIs are getting better. And do you know how much time a group of people take to write a script like this one? Months. Guess how much time the AI took? A couple seconds. And it not only threatened writers, obviously, they threat the whole world. Trucks that drive themselves, robots that can cook better than people, algorithms that summarize books and articles in a couple of seconds, completely automated farms, and a long etc. For it to reach most of the jobs, it's only a matter of time. Actually, the song that you're listening to right now, it's made by an artificial intelligence. Beautiful, huh? In the future, humans will actually be useless. In fact, we could even be an obstacle. And we all know what AIs think about obstacles. But perhaps we might not be useless at all. Not having to work to sustain ourselves could allow us to have much more free time to think. A few centuries ago, we invented the first machines, that for the first time gave us time to think, and it produced the first scientific revolution. Less than 60 years passed between the arrival at the South Pole and the first moon landing. And now the second transition could be beginning. If this artificial intelligence is handled with common sense, we could create an ideal society in which nothing is necessary. Each person can use all of their time to do what they want. If the revolution a few years ago was enormous, imagine what we could achieve with all the humanity free to think. And also with the help of an artificial intelligence that, perhaps, can become smarter than us. Which doesn't really have to be something bad. AIs are one of the best things that have ever happened to humanity in its history. Evolution has created us, but after all, we're not so bad. We can do the same with robots. And the best of all is that it may be that in this way to create an artificial intelligence that can be equal or superior to us, we might achieve something more important: to understand our own intelligence. Thank you very much for watching the video, and goodbye.